Hi everyone, hurry up to write your name in the chat. Hurry up to write your name in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for your joining, making the like, and subscribing to the channel. Every respected member, you should have to write your name in the chat. Shout out to you, Bobbin. Shout out to you, dear Bobbin. My birthday. Shout out to you, Bobbin. Thank you so much for your joining, dear Bobbin. Rishi, how are you, Rishi? Kamali, how are you, Kamali? Shout out to Halle, how are you, Halle? Anybody can do the super chat, guys. Hi, Halle, how are you, Halle? Thank you so much for your joining. Praveen, how are you, Praveen? Amelia, how are you, Amelia? Darcy, how are you, Darcy? Moke, how are you, Moke? Vivian, how are you, Vivian? Welcome, Halle. Halle, can you do the super chat, my dear? Sharili, how are you, Sharili? Thank you so much for your joining. Moke, how is Moke? Look that there, Moke. Arthur, how are you, Arthur? Attarib, how are you, Attarib? Johan, how are you, Johan? Benjamin, how are you, Benjamin? Every respected member have to write your name in the chat, guys. Thank you so much for your joining. Lamim, how are you, Lamim? Jesus, how are you, Jesus? Emilino, how are you, Emilino? Anjali, how are you, Anjali? Blaz, how are you, Blaz? Hurry up, guys, to write your name in the chat. Rohit, how are you, Rohit? Thank you so much for your joining, dear Rohit. Jishil, how are you, Jishil? Dago, how are you, Dago? Amazon, how are you, Amazon? Leo, how are you, Leo? Nicole, how are you, Nicole? Michael, how are you, Michael? Anybody can do the super chat for my support, guys. Malia, how are you, Malia? Alice, how are you, Alice? Lexi, how are you, Lexi? Bradley, how are you, Bradley? Gigi, how are you, Gigi? Valentino, how are you, Valentino? Hurry up, guys, to write your name in the chat. Moke, how are you, Moke? Ellen, how are you, Ellen? Saviam, how are you, Saviam? Hurry up, guys, to write your name in the chat, making the like and subscribing to the channel. Los Pico. Saviam, here is your name, look that. Ronia, how are you, Ronia? Thank you so much for your sitter, thank you. Can you send me a laughing disco, my dear? Honey, can you send me a laughing disco, my dear honey? Thank you, honey. Thank you so much, honey. Honey, if you can, you should send me a one laughing disco, my dear. Lexi, how are you, Lexi? AJ, how are you, AJ? Fatin, how are you, Fatin? Pikaru, how are you, Pikaru? Lexi, are you blind, Lexi? Bernardo, how are you, Bernardo? Carol, how are you, Carol? Tizano, how are you, Tizano? Melissa, how are you, Melissa? Faith, how are you, Faith? Kara, how are you, Kara? Anybody can send the laughing disco or do the super chat, guys. Reina, how are you, Reina? Parisa, how are you, Parisa? Alex, how are you, Alex? Daddy, how are you, Daddy? Shaista, how are you, Shaista? Arrow, how are you, Arrow? Hajan, how are you, Hajan? Maz, how are you, Maz? Hurry up, guys, to write your name in the chat. Any person can do the super chat or send the laughing disco for the support, guys. Daisy, how are you, Daisy? Hurry up, guys, to write your name in the chat. Jazzy, how are you, Jazzy? Please, guys, any person can do the super chat for my support. Murajo, how are you, Murajo? Nicolas, how are you, Nicolas? Ale, how are you, Ale? Larry, how are you, Larry? Any person can do the super chat, guys. Johan, how are you, Johan? Zoha, how are you, Zoha? Max Bell, how are you, Max Bell? Please, guys, to do the super chat for my support, guys. Margot, how are you, Margot? Sanghoon, how are you, Sanghoon? Bob, how are you, Bob? Amber, how are you, Amber? Cobra, how are you, Cobra? Any person can do the super chat, guys, please. Asadik, how are you, Asadik? Lorraine, how are you, Lorraine? Jason, how are you, Jason? Marily, how are you, Marily? Alisa, how are you, Alisa? Lamia, how are you, Lamia? Our League, how are you, Our League?